Hey, everybody, on this special Sunday edition of Samp&Chance. Yes, we're coming at you on a Sunday, so don't be surprised. We will be coming back at you on Tuesday, but today we just want to focus on the Royal Rumble that happened this week or last night. So, yeah, let's get into it. Samp&Chance, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another special episode of Samp&Chance. It's on a Sunday. We wanted to do this episode, Mr. Chance Michaels, after talking because of all the things that are happening in the world of professional wrestling. We figured it'd probably be best if we just cover this show today and focus on all the other stuff on Tuesday. What say you?
Absolutely. I totally agree. Let's get into this.
Absolutely. All right. So let's first start off overall thoughts before we kind of break it down without saying much.
Boring, too predictable, and boring. A couple bright spots, but I thought it was pretty dull. I'll get into more detail, but I wasn't too impressed with it myself. That's my first take. Yours?
Yeah, I felt the same way when I looked at the women's rumble, for example. First off, I'll say this: I thought the women's rumble was better than the men's
Way
rumble.
better. It was. Yeah.
And that's taking nothing away from anybody. But even that rumble had problems. Now I don't know if 48 plus thousand fans in a big open stadium, doesn't translate into crowd noise or not. But I really felt that Tropicana Field. It felt like the Thunderdome all over again. You know,
It does
uh,
translate well into the crowd noise, but you're absolutely right. The crowd didn't seem to be too excited by most of the night. I don't
yeah,
know. Impressed.
and that okay. So I mean, I can see where this podcast is going to go today in terms of where we kind of stand. Um, Unfortunately, not every show is going to be a cracker. We've always said that. You're going to get some
Yeah,
shows
absolutely. It's
like
hard.
that. It sucks though that this particular show falls in that category for us only because this is the start to WrestleMania,
One of the big four.
one of the big four, and they're not all going to hit. I get that, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
can go through every Royal Rumble and say, okay, this one wasn't good, this one wasn't
Yeah.
great, this one was okay. Look, they're all good in one capacity or the other, but overall some of them just don't produce. Now I don't know if that's because of the emotion surrounding the week. I don't know if that has anything to do with with everything going on, so to speak.
I
So
don't think it really played much of a factor considering how Vince doesn't really come backstage much at all anymore. So he's in the boardroom,
yeah,
he's doing remotely,
I
maybe
mean,
so he's
who
not
knows?
even around. So I don't think that
Maybe
had much to do with it.
maybe not, but just the emotion of the athletes, the talent, having to field these questions, being told what to say, what not to say, going into the show, going into interviews. Who knows? Who knows?
Who
But let's
knows?
get into it, man. The ladies
Yeah,
Royal Rumble, straight up, brother, man. I called it.
you
I
did. Yeah,
did Bailey to win this one. And sure enough, she did, man. Look, overall, the match was okay. Here are my takeaways from it. I don't think this match didn't, and this is taking nothing away from the first 20 women that came into the match. I'll touch on that really quickly. But after number 21, when Becky came in, this is when this Rumble actually picked up, and this is when the crowd actually kind of got into it a little bit.
yeah.
And this is where I think everything kind of picked up. Uh, Jade Cargill made her return. She looked really dominant. I liked what she did.
Good
Uh,
athlete.
there was a moment there where I thought, oh, okay, this woman's going to take it all because she handled Nia Jax like a champion, man. One on one, destroyed her, took her out by herself. And this is Nia that just brushed off, 5 to 10 women.
Naya had a good performance. She was dominant. She's big. She's strong. I like the
Nope.
way she was booked, showing her
Yeah,
dominance and strength. And how
right.
she was booked perfectly, actually, Naya.
Right, yeah, and she did a great job as well. I thought Becky did a great job. I thought Bianca did a great job. I thought Bailey was just awesome in
Who is
this.
that girl from NXT? The Tiffany and she really stood out there. What was her
Yeah,
name?
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
really
so
stood out.
Tiffany Stratton is a former NXT World Champion. Roxanne Perez, also former NXT World Champion or female champion. Eventually, these two will be coming up to the rosters. There is a lot of hype. There's a lot of,
Yeah, she looked good.
Tiffany Stratton. If you guys got to watch NXT, her work there's really fun. She's that Barbie doll type of character, but she can fight. She's strong.
Athletic.
athletic, and she has that look, right? So
Yeah,
they're putting a lot into Tiffany Stratton. So you guys check her out, man. She's really, really good.
good.
Jordan Grace coming out. She's the current NXT or TNA Women's Champion. I thought she looked really good as well.
She does look good, and she is a really good athlete. But I don't understand why they're doing that. You don't need to do that. You're WWE. You don't need to bring somebody
Look,
from the minor. I know they did that in 2022, but I don't like that.
you know what? I think if you think about it, look at both Rumbles, there were really no surprises. I mean, on the women's side, outside of Naomi and
I
Jordan,
thought Trish maybe would have came out, or Lita, or somebody like that, but
they
no,
did. They had no one come out. Like this is
no,
the thing with these Rumbles this year. And the one thing I noticed about the Rumbles, they were kind of booked the same. Like they were
yeah,
almost identical morphs of each other in certain ways. In terms of, for example, before the first elimination in the women's rumble, you already had an upwards of 5 to 10 women in that ring.
yeah,
That seemed the theme. Like they kept the ring full for the most of the night,
they did.
right? Nia came out, yeah, she got rid of some girls, this and that. Jade came out, she got rid of some girls and whatnot. But for the most part, there was a consistent balance of talent in the ring at any given time.
I think they were doing that, so you were like, oh, maybe she'll win, maybe this. So they took the focus off of Bailey winning because most people figured that, or Becky, so they
Yeah.
kept the ring full to make you, keep you on your toes. I guess was the thinking.
Possibly, but they did the same thing that way. But I liked how they forwarded the storylines. Kabuki Warriors coming out. The look of shock on Bailey's face because she thought she was going to do this alone, and now these guys are here as well. But they did help her. They didn't really do anything to her.
Yeah,
But it's like I said to you off the air before the Rumble started. I said I'm going to back up my Bailey win with this. She's not going to go after Rhea. I think she's going to go after Io, and in the next few weeks, we're going to see that happen,
yeah, you
where
could be right.
where it's going to be her and Io, because I think the match to make for Rhea would still be her and Becky in terms of fireworks.
Seems that way.
Right. I think Io and Bailey just seems the right match, just considering the nuances and the little details that are keep being exposed in this group that you got to really watch for. The missing of the high fives, the non-acknowledgement of Bailey. She looks like she's really left out of this group that she's created, but they haven't turned on her yet. So
There's one thing that I noticed about Bailey. She's not the best athlete. She doesn't even move that well. She's actually quite slow and sluggish on her feet, but she's got a good character. She knows how to sell, and she knows how to win the crowd over. There's probably 15 girls in there, way better performers, way better athletes, but it's not always the best athlete. It's not always the best wrestler. Example, Hulk Hogan. Bailey knows how to have the character. She knows how to sell, and she has the look. She got the experience, right? And
yeah.
but you could definitely see, as far as move wise, she's definitely outperformed big time in there.
Well, I think also, and I mentioned this to you off the air as well. Another reason I think this is kind of working out the way it is because this is kind of like her thank you for all that she had done
Exactly. Yeah.
during the pandemic era. She was the top of it. And the one thing that she kind of did that a lot of the other talent weren't doing was finding ways to interact.
That's what
Right.
I mean. She knows how to get over,
Right.
right? And some of the
So
girls
that,
are great athletes, and they can't get over.
yeah. So that thing that she was doing with Michael Cole during the whole pandemic era, the Thunderdome with no crowd or anything, that was original,
Yeah.
right? And that kind of brought that interaction level up that made people invested in the character. And that's on her. Unfortunately, she ended up getting injured just as everyone was coming back. And she's built herself back up. And you know what? I think she deserves this one, right? I mean, in my opinion, regardless of talent or who's
Yeah,
ahead
right.
and
I
whatnot,
agree.
ultimately the right girl won this Royal
Yeah.
Rumble. Becky winning it, we've already seen it. Bianca winning it, we already saw it, right? So if you're going to give it to a tenured athlete on the women's side, she was the right one to do so.
Yeah,
So
I
I
agree.
think that match overall, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought the women worked harder than
they
the
did.
men. Some of those men seem pretty lazy in there,
Well,
man. We'll
they
get to
did.
that in a bit.
We'll get to that in a minute. Before we leave the women's rumble, the other thing I wanted to touch on is Chelsea Green.
Yeah,
I enjoyed watching her in the rumble as overall, just getting squashed after squash after squash after squash. Like this poor girl took so many squishes. I don't know how to what do you call them? She just got pummeled and pummeled, and she
he
played it
did.
beautifully. And if there was like a little storyline in there to kind of the comedy side of it, sort of a deal, she did it awesome. Piper came out in this whole kind of what's that movie with Mel Gibson, man?
Which
Braveheart
one?
gear.
Yeah,
She looked all Braveheart and everything. So who knows, man? Maybe you can get a Scottish faction with her and Drew. She looked apart.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You never know.
Right? So that was kind of interesting. All right, let's move on to the next match, the four-way dance for the heavyweight title. I'm going to be really honest with you, brother man. I thought this match was good enough for TV, but not for a pay-per-view. It was standard. All right. Like here's I'm gonna just I'll say my piece and then you come in right after me here. The match was okay. Everyone got their licks in, everyone got their moves in, but the formula, they got to figure out something with this formula because now it's just becoming too much, in my opinion. I didn't enjoy it. Solo coming out again, pulling out the referee.
Yeah,
Uh
I know.
the highlight spot for me personally, because I expected all the things that we saw in that match, right? Solo comes out, pulls out the referee. Yeah, there's no disqualification, so that's okay. I accept that. But the fact that Roman constantly needs help to win, like I get it, you're the heel champion, right? But for me personally, it just felt like it's just too many times. The highlight of the match was when Solo went into the barrier, and I don't think anyone told Samantha Irwin that this was happening, and she almost got clocked, right?
Lucky she was
Poor
on that
girl.
second chair.
Poor girl, right? So they got to smarten her up a little bit as well because she's really good. I think she's one of the best things in WWE. I love to talk about her another day. But overall match was good, right? This kind of all came in. Everyone tried their things, this and that. Roman gets the spear. 1, 2, 3. He retains the championship. On AJ, I said that AJ would be the guy to take the fall. So,
Yeah,
we're doing pretty good in terms of what we thought was going to happen. I've rambled on, man. What are your thoughts on the match?
I thought it was above average at best. They have no chemistry, these four guys together. They don't work that well together, and it's hard when you get four guys in the ring. I don't think this match is even needed. He didn't need to put four guys in the ring. I thought it was bad booking. Orton was sitting out for half of the match there. I thought honestly, LA Knight probably shined the most. I thought they made him look good. He got most of his moves in. He worked hard. He wanted it. You could tell because we've seen him on SmackDown Live. He got outperformed by these guys this time.
Yeah.
He raised his game up. So I got to give props to LA Knight. I don't always give him a lot of props. He worked his butt off from there. He ran. I like when he runs and jumps from the canvas to the rope. For a 40-year-old man, that's pretty impressive. And average match at best. You're right. He doesn't always need Solo Sequoia to give him the win. I get he's a heel, but he's also a big, strong dude. He doesn't always need a guy half his size, Sola, to come out and save him all the time. So I wasn't too impressed with that match.
I'm just getting tired of that portion of it
I
because I'm
know.
seeing it over and over and over again. When was the last time that Roman kept his belt clean? Like, I mean, okay, I get the character, I get it, right? But I mean, ultimately, at
But
the end of
every time.
every single time, it's happened over and over and over and over
And they're
again.
bringing out Solo Sequoia, who's half the size of the guys he's taking down too. So it's not even believable.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. But hey, let's get into the next one here. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, probably the best match of the night, and that's not saying a lot either. Like, I mean,
Yeah, this match was probably the best match, but it wasn't no barn burner either. I thought Owens was trying to. One thing that I took away from it, I thought Owens was trying to outshine Logan Paul. He was trying to do more moves, trying to outwork him, and there's a little friendly competition going on there. You know what I mean? It was a decent match. Same thing again. They gave the heel needed outside interference to win. Logan Paul doesn't need brass knuckles. He's a heavy-handed guy who fights. He's fought Floyd Mayweather. He's fought KSI. He doesn't need brass knuckles to beat up a guy who's not even in shape. So I thought that was a little cheesy. They did some good moves. KO worked good. I thought it was a good match, best match of the night. But I didn't like the brass knuckles match. I don't think Logan Paul's heavy-handed. He doesn't need brass knuckles.
my takeaways are this. Again, I thought the ending was good because it kept Kevin still strong.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I did take away with it. The finish was a TV finish, in my opinion. Again, I keep going back to the TV, but with the content that's on television, this was very much like a TV match, right? Like the
Yeah,
ending
pretty much.
was having the brass knuckles on his hand. All of a sudden, the referee has 20/20 vision. When does that ever happen in wrestling? Right?
Thank you for saying bringing that up. So Michael Cole did a big flub there. Logan Paul punched Kevin Owens, and he goes, Logan Paul KO. Once he hits a mat, he's looking around like he wasn't even KO'd. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it was, I don't know.
No, I get it. I think that was more of like a figure of speech. Like I get what you're saying, right? Uh,
Yeah. Logan Paul's good, man. He can fly around, and Owens held his own in that department. Like, he was flying around too, frog splashes, and the swantons and stuff. And you could tell one thing. This is probably the hardest I've seen KO work in a couple of years. He elevated his game. He was running, jumping, flying. He wanted to compete with the guy who's half his age, and he did good.
Well, I'm gonna look at Logan Paul, and honestly, he's gotten better and better with every performance.
I
And
love
this,
that one move when he jumps in and he does that little flip clothesline.
yeah, no,
Beautiful. He does
I mean
that.
he landed that beautifully.
Oh,
The way
yeah.
he's selling, his selling is immense.
Selling's good.
And like if I'm just looking at him as overall, right?
He's a natural jerk. He's perfect at it. He's just a natural cocky guy, right?
really good at it. He's good in on the mic. I think he can do better on the mic a little bit, in my opinion.
He will get better. He'll get better.
But I think his in ring is amazing.
Phenomenal. Oh, it's phenomenal.
Really, really good. And this was probably the stiffest match of the night. Like they weren't like Kevin.
Oh yeah, Owens
like
welcome kid. Owens did good, man. He worked his butt off.
Right, like I mean, Kevin went hard on him. This was a stiff match. I mean, if it was Japanese strong style, this was American, North American.
You could see the welts on Logan's chest from those chops.
Now, like Logan, is he? And does he just have really, really soft skin that he's easily marked up and gets cut up really easy?
No, he was getting chopped hard.
But that's what I mean. But he has that body chemistry of his skin. Like, like some guys can take those chops. Some guys can get punched in the face and not.
You don't notice it, yeah.
Right. Like with him, the slightest things he'll turn red. Right. Yeah. So
probably the best match of the night, which it shouldn't have been on paper, but they worked the hardest, I thought.
No, I agree with you, and that's where my match of the night went to.
I think this feud's over now. What do you think? Are they going to carry this on or drop it?
Well, I mean, I think we still have more to go with this because of the brass knuckles. And the one thing that I didn't understand and really kind of, this is the one point where I would say, okay, wrestling is fake. I heard some horrible words. It's like that little guy at ringside that's with Logan.
Who is? Yeah.
Like, I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him.
One of his entourage is like a guy hangs on the podcast.
But what bothered me was the fact that 5 guys came out to get rid of this guy and they couldn't move him.
I know. That's
what pissed me off. That's what annoyed me. Sorry.
He wasn't needed.
He wasn't needed. Logan doesn't need brass knuckles, but I get the gimmick that they're trying to
I get it. He's the bad guy. He hit me to win. I get it.
Right? I get all that. But I think the most unbelievable part of the whole night was the fact that these guys all came out to get rid of this little guy and they couldn't move him. And then having Grayson and AJ.
I was able to say that. Are we going to see Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Logan Paul make a faction? Because that would be an amazing faction if they did.
Well, Logan would have to be around a lot more for that to work.
Well, they say he's full time now, so we'll see.
Well, let's see what they do, right? Like, I mean, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, that'd be a great faction, and it'd be something to play off.
Those are sick athletes,
right?
Yeah.
So that'd be really fun. All right, brother Matt, let's go to the men's Royal Rumble. The first thing I'm going to say is shows how much talent this company has right now because of the names that weren't even in the Royal Rumble. Forget surprises. Okay, there was only
Gable, Otis, Street Profits,
right? Who else? Like that was the first one I thought of. Where's Gable?
He should have been in there. Why isn't Montez Ford out there flying around?
Right, but they're trying to build this other storyline between the Street Profits and Lashley and I guess what do they call themselves? Final Testament.
Yeah.
So they're trying to build up that story. So yeah, you had Bobby and you had Karrion Kross in the Rumble. I didn't.
Which, by the way, when Bobby came in the ring, he flubbed 2 spears. That was bad.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was Bobby's fault that the guy's taking him. Like that didn't look good.
No. But that aside, here's another Rumble, in my opinion. Outside of Andrade coming in, there was no one else that came in.
And even Andrade at best is a mid-carder, below mid-carder. Even like, okay, he's back, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's Andrade. It's like he got cut for a reason. AEW didn't want to use him. And he's back. It's like, whatever. All he's ever, and I hate to be so harsh on the guy, all he's ever really done is marry Charlotte Flair. He's done nothing else. And I hate to say that. It sounds mean, but like, oh, well, it's just Andrade.
I look at it this way. He's back. Let's see what they do with him. If they can do something with him, great. If not, then you know what? It's just bye-bye sort of a deal, right? Like, I mean.
This is his last chance.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so the Rumble starts off kind of cool. You got both Usos out there, which I thought was a really, really good
start. That was a good way to start it.
And the way I looked at it, I'm like, oh, wow, this looks good. We're going to have a good Rumble here. Thereafter, Grayson Waller comes out number 3, and then you basically just
why would you? I like Grayson Waller, but why do you put him 3 when you got the Usos? I don't understand that. Why Waller? Of all the guys you could have 3, you got the 2 Usos in there. Why throw Waller? Put him out later.
I don't know, but I mean, we can question the whole booking of this Royal Rumble, man. I mean, we're just looking at Andrade came
I
out.
got to say one thing: the commentating was horrible. You got Pat McAfee out there. He's just so over the top, and it comes across as fake to me. Like he's standing on the chair, and I get it, he's a raw guy and he's a popular guy. I get why they use him, but like, man, I thought the commentating was very poor.
To be honest, man, I think commentating was the least of my worries on the show.
No,
But
I'm just saying it's like
no.
everything.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get you. I appreciate that. I had no problem with it. I always like this is the one thing you and I will disagree on. I like Pat McAfee. I think he brings a certain energy to the show. I enjoy it. And there's times where he's over the top and flamboyant. I don't mind it. It's
I
okay.
like
Like
the energy that he brings. I just don't like how he comes across. Like I like Don Best's energy, but he seems a little more authentic. Pat McAfee seems like this is the greatest guy of all. Everybody's the greatest of all time. Every tag team's the greatest of all time. It's so contrived. It's so over the top, fake. He needs a energy is great, but tone it down a little bit.
yeah, maybe that's his style though. The fact that we're talking about it, right? Like that's his kind of niche, like to be that flamboyant. If you watch his podcast or watch him on ESPN on his own show,
Yeah,
he carries that same kind of energy.
yeah,
Even
he's got a good energy. I
right.
like his
So,
passion.
but yeah, so Andrade, man, like I put I put a star beside the surprise guys. I have one star in this whole match, and that
I
would
guess
be.
you could say Braun Breaker was a bit of a surprise.
Well, I'm gonna get to Braun Breaker. There's two spots in this match that were really interesting to me. One was the Braun Breaker, and one was the McAfee. One
Mm-hmm.
of those two spots belong to a certain individual that we'll talk about on Tuesday that was written off the show.
That's what they say, but how true is that actually? Do we know that we're just dirt cheap? Do we actually know? They didn't advertise him for the Rumble.
But he was going to be one of the surprise guys coming in. That's why.
Could have been. It could have been. It's hard to say. You might be right. I don't know. Could be.
But that was the talk. That's what I kept hearing throughout the whole
Okay,
day.
but if you're gonna, I get it. McAfee goes in there. You're scared of Omos. I get it. I like that. Throw somebody else up there. He's just gonna jump in and jump himself out. You know what I mean? Like he was in snakeskin boots, so you
Well,
knew he wasn't gonna wrestle. At
yeah.
least he could have shoes on, so it made it believable. Like
No, for
I
sure,
thought
for
that was
sure.
corny.
Well, again, I mean, this whole match was kind of corny. Okay,
Yes. What?
right? It was just a weird night for the pay-per-view.
You know, one of my favorite entrances was I've seen Omos. But you have to have it. I like that. You have to have a big guy out there, a big scary dude that can throw some dudes around. Because that's what the Rumble's known for, trying to throw the big guy over the rope. Andre or Big Show or whatever. So that was cool. They got Omos out there. He's a
Yeah,
monster
no,
of a man.
it was fun. I mean, probably won't see Almost again until probably Royal Rumble or
There's a
WrestleMania.
lot of house shows, they say.
He does. He does a lot of house shows. So he's on the road with them. He's doing everything. But again, he's just that kind of guy. How much can you do with him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Like
cool that you got to keep him though.
the fact that Bobby's already beat him, the Braun beat him, Brock beat him. I mean, there's just really when the biggest guys have already beat him, they almost have to be building from scratch again.
Why not put him with the Street Profits and Bobby? He'd be their bodyguard. Throw him there.
It just maybe possibly, but again, it all comes down to MVP.
That'd be a scary faction with Bobby and Omos. You don't want to play around.
Yeah. I mean, they almost had it at one point.
You can't release a guy like Omos because you don't want AEW to get him because he's the biggest athlete in sports entertainment. And you don't want him. You can't lose him. You got to keep him, right?
Oh no, I agree with you completely. Braun Breaker was very impressive.
He was good. He looked good.
Right? I mean, he eliminated some big names. He took out Finn Balor. He went out there, man. He did some damage. I'm excited. Like to be honest, man, this guy is done with NXT. It's time to bring him up.
He'll be coming up pretty soon because they put him in the Rumble. Now it's out there. The mainstream fans know him now, and he looked good. He did good. He looks good.
We've been waiting for Braun to come up since WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
Right. So
he looked good, man.
But that being said, I can understand this is probably beneficial to him to be down at NXT still to work on his skill. I mean, we're looking for those who don't know, Braun Breaker is the son of Rick Steiner.
I love Rick Steiner was actually one of my guys. I really like Rick Steiner. I always like Rick better than Scott, but I love it how Braun plays tribute to his dad by doing that dog face gremlin, that parking stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought Braun was a light in this Rumble. I like
he was.
He's also another guy coming up from NXT. He's making more and more of a push into the SmackDown side of things.
It's coming.
So he's coming. Him and Carmelo, I think, are really cool guys. They're really good talent.
Carmelo is one of my new favorites. He's such an amazing athlete. What a talent he is.
Guys,
good. He NXT.
Good. They're going to be
dresses good.
Yeah. In fact, I believe on NXT this week you're gonna get Carmelo.
Yes, Corbin and Breaker versus Carmelo and I can't remember who his partner was.
The other guy, Trick Williams.
Okay,
So
it's a good match.
really good as well, man. Guys, you gotta watch NXT. Some of the girls and guys that are down there that are, like you said, you noticed Tiffany Stratton for the first time.
I feel bad for Corbin though, because he's been NXT's for young and up and comers, and he's an old veteran. He's like 40. It kind of sucks that he's down there again. I don't think he deserves to be, but I get
That's
what they're
my
trying to do with
choice.
him. But
He chose to go there.
he wanted to. You think so? You
Yeah,
think he had a choice?
he had to, no, he had a choice. Absolutely. I mean, he look, you know what? Here's the thing with Corbin. He's a lot better than people give him credit for. And I'll say this just with his
He's
character,
good, man.
he's good, right? And the fact that he's down there and he's still maintaining and whatnot, like he's going back to that lone wolf. He'll be back in the main roster
But
eventually.
I thought Mini Matt cut it way too short with Corbin and Madcap. They were hilarious. They had a good thing going, and he's like pulled the plug on them. I was like, dude, let them go a little bit longer. They were great.
Well, Madcap's not even there anymore,
No, I know. Too bad.
right? So he got the axe already. All right. So the Rumble carries on. We'll just get to the final four here. Gunther, Drew, Punk, and Cody.
Cody.
Now, we already called that as well. We already said that, that will probably be the final four. And sure enough,
Yeah.
with all the eliminations, everything, and again, it was another Royal Rumble where they had
Wasn't that the same Final Four as last year minus CM Punk? Who else was the other guy last year? I can't remember. Was it Seth?
Gunther, Seth,
Cody.
and
But it's basically the same Final Four almost. But
almost same final four. So bottom line is this. I mean, look, let's just cut right to the chase. I said Punk was gonna win, and that didn't happen. Cody Rhodes wins his second Royal Rumble back to back, and he automatically challenges Roman Reigns, who was sitting in a skybox. Seth was also sitting in a skybox.
Did we know did he actually challenge Reigns?
He pointed at him, yeah. And if you watch the press,
I thought he looked over at Seth too, though.
no. He pointed at Roman. He had an interaction with him at the press conference. Also, he basically said, "Yeah, I want to fight Roman at Mania."
Here's the thing now. Now it becomes too. I don't like that, how they're doing that. Cody Rhodes doesn't need to be in a three-way match with Rock and Reigns. That right there sells itself. You didn't need a three-way match with Hogan and Rock. You don't need Cody Rhodes. So now we know Cody Rhodes. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he's going to win the belt there. And they're going to say he beat the Rock and he beat the Reigns. They're going to, put him on this pedestal. You don't need him in that match.
Well, let's look. I mean,
But
right
that's
off,
what they're going to do.
as Cody won, you could feel worldwide a sigh of disbelief. Not to take anything away from Cody, he's great. I have no
He was
problem.
getting roasted online by the Twitter fans. Were not happy with Cody winning.
Well, but here's the thing: everyone's quick to jump the gun. Let's give them time. It's only January, right? Well, we're entering February next week. But we got February, March. We got 2 months to build storylines. So let's just see what they do. I don't want to criticize it yet. I don't want to critique.
I'm not going to criticize, but if they're going to go Cody, Rock, and Roman, it's a waste of a match. You don't need. I get it, they're going to try to put Cody over the hump. You don't need to do that. Rock and Reigns is good enough. Let the family, the two cousins, go at it for supremacy in that family, the head of the table. You're throwing Cody Rhodes in there. He's not on their level. Any way you want to slice it, and it feels like they're just throwing him a bone, like they're giving him everything. And I don't know. I just hope it doesn't happen that way. But hopefully he fights Rollins. But I don't know.
Like I'm saying to you, brother man, I am not disagreeing with anything that you're saying. I think you're dead on. I have the same sentiments as well. But what I'll say is this: I will wait to pass.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens.
Right, we got another big stadium show coming up in February, Elimination Chamber. So let's see what happens there. Let's see what happens up. Like, I mean, wrestling storylines can move fast, right? From what we saw tonight will look very different. First week of March.
Yep.
So we have a lot of programming. We have a lot of things that we can go through. We have a lot of stuff that can happen between now and Mania, at least March. Let's say from now till mid-March, right?
Yeah.
Second week of March. Let's play fair. To correct this, I mean, it could be a giant swerve for all of us. Who knows, right? We don't know. Right? I mean, the fact that they gave it to Cody is making everybody look in this direction now.
Well, I knew that's why I called them. So I knew they were going to give it to Cody because they kept saying nobody's won the Rumble back-to-back since Stone Cold. So right then and there, I knew it was going to Cody. And let's be honest, Punk left for 10 years. I'm not going to give him a Royal Rumble right away. They still think he's a brat. He's good for business. But let's get into CM Punk. He looked god awful out there. He's out of shape. Maybe he's injured. He's slow. He could barely move. He could barely pick anybody up. He looks like a shell of his former self. And I'm not trying to dog. I get it. He's mid-40s. He's logged a lot of miles. But if he's going to look like that, he can't even do a main event at WrestleMania. He can't move.
Yeah,
He's out of gas. He's chubby. He
chubby.
looked bad, man. I hate to say it, but he looked horrible.
The way I'm gonna put it with Punk here is like this: like this guy hasn't had a match in months. The only match he's had since coming here is a dark show match. I think it was Madison Square Garden on a house show. So I
Yeah.
mean, he's only had the one match in 4 months, 5 months, right? Let's see what this guy can do once he gets a bit more traction and gets a bit more ring time and things.
But even then, though, he's not keeping his body in shape. He's out of gas, so I know he's not training hard. He was winded. He was only almost what 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. He came out with number 27. He was gassed out the first minute. Like he was winded. I get it. You're saying right, he hasn't wrestled a lot, but if you are going to be a main event WWE athlete, you got to be ready to go. You don't have to be the ripped and muscle. You got to have some good cardio. Look at Bronson Reed. Look at Ivar, who looked amazing out there. Look at these big guys moving. Punk couldn't move.
Yeah,
He's
no,
shot. He's way over the hill.
No, I get it. But here's the same thing. If Rock comes, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? If Rock comes back and fights Roman, I expect the same kind of character from him.
At least The Rock looks good, though. At least at the very
Rock
best.
looks good, but the guy will be gassed. Like it's like this. Like
He'll be gassed, but
he's
strong. Like Punk could barely pick up anybody. He tried to do the rack. He couldn't get anybody up. Like I get it. He's got a bad bum knee or hip or whatever, but like how can you trust him to carry a main event match when he's gassed that quick?
Well, maybe this was the indication for that, right? Maybe that's why Cody won. Who knows? Like, who knows what they were whispering backstage, right? I mean,
I expected more from Punk. I thought he was gonna come out there and run around and and steal the show, but no, I think he wanted, he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, again, let's keep an eye on him. Let's monitor it. You're not wrong. But we'll just kind of keep an eye on this, man, and kind of go from there. All right, so that's the Royal Rumble in a nutshell, guys and gals. I mean, it wasn't the greatest show. It wasn't the worst show. I would call this a 6 out of 10. And that's only because of Chelsea Green, in my opinion, and the stuff that she was doing in the women's match. I think Braun Breaker on the guy's side was, a highlight for me.
Logan Paul and Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens wasn't the greatest match, but that being said, was probably the best match of the night. Roman, for me, it was an okay match, but I'm kind of starting to get tired of the interference side of it. Like it's almost too predictable.
Was it me, or did you think that four-way match, some of the guys were half-assing it a little bit?
I just think the whole night was half-assed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But this is the thing, is like when these guys go backstage now, there's no fear of repercussions. There's nobody that, what the fuck, throw on the headset. Now it's like you don't get reprimanded like you used to. Now you're starting to see some of the intensity. The women were great. They went hard, but the men, you notice without that taskmaster back there, it's like the cool boss in town. You're not worried about the cool boss, but oh shit, there's that grumpy boss. You gotta work better. You know what I mean? And I've been starting to notice that these last, about the last year or so, they're not putting out that same effort all the time. Some guys are, and some guys are taking it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's pay attention to that and see what happens with that, because I think, and again, guys, girls, we are gonna have an explosive episode on Tuesday covering all the things that have been going on, both good and bad.
Yeah.
In the WWE this past week.
Lots of good, a little bit of bad, but that comes with the territory, right?
Right. But unfortunately, the bad is magnified to 5,000. So it makes it look worse.
And that's another thing I forgot to bring this up. Speaking of bad, is the Twitter community is all over Triple H. They thought, I'm not saying that he did, they're saying he handled that press conference horribly. And this is the thing that people realize. Triple H is not a businessman. He's not Dana White. He's not Vince McMahon. He's never ran a business. He's never hired or fired anybody. He runs creative. And I'm not knocking him. He's just not a business guy. That's why he's not on the board. He's not a businessman.
Okay, but
they asked him. But they asked him about that, and he said, "I didn't read the lawsuit." You don't say that, Triple H. You say, "I cannot comment on an ongoing investigation." But he's not. He's just not that. He's not a business guy, so he wasn't prepared. So they're dogging him on there. They're ripping him, saying he doesn't know what he's doing, and he dropped the ball, and he's covering for Vince, and it's like they're dogging him. I'm not saying he did, but
no.
He should have answered it better.
I'll say this, man. Look at the sources that it's coming from, right? It's Twitter, right? Most of the people on that platform are just keyboard warriors that.
But I'm telling you, now that Vince's out of the way, Triple H is gonna be. They love him now, but he's their next target. I can already see this coming.
Hey,
start dogging him.
One day at a time, brother, man. Let's just get to the next show.
I don't think, and personally, I didn't think it was that bad of an answer. He obviously read the lawsuit. He's not going to say it. He should have said, I can't comment. It's an ongoing investigation. Next.
Yeah,
But he's not that, let's say, jerk like Dana White and Vince, where they shuts
yeah,
these guys down. He's more
yeah.
like trying to placate him and they're going to kill him.
I think he was trying to play it safe and it just came
He
out
was.
unfortunately the wrong way. I'm not defending him,
Yeah,
nobody,
no, I thought it was, I didn't think it was a
but
big deal. I thought it was
but
fine
and
myself.
I watched the press conference. I had no problem with his answer per se, considering the magnitude of it all and considering everything
I
that's going
thought
on.
he should have said, I can't comment on ongoing investigation, but I didn't think twice until I went on Twitter that they were
I think
dogging
he
him.
did though when he tried to say, "Look, we had a great week. We had the Royal Rumble, we had this. I just want to focus on these things right now." That's his way of saying, "I can't comment on it. I don't want to talk about it." Right?
Yeah.
Having Cody come out there and mentioning it as well, the same kind of thing. It's just
No, I
like,
didn't
look,
see I wasn't watching what did Cody said. I didn't hear what he
hey,
said.
pretty much the same thing. It's like, we had a great week. We did this, and I can't really comment on it. We can't talk about that. It's not here or there. This is what
Yeah.
we're doing right now, right? I mean, why would you go into a press conference looking for answers on something like that when you know you're not going to get it,
Because
right?
they want clicks. They
I
want
get it. I get it. But that Nick Hausman guy, like from House of Wrestling,
yeah.
that is an antagonist, man. He's creating problems,
Oh yeah. This
right?
is a new era of guys out there,
This
man.
is
That's what they
this
do.
guy, and I don't try to be this person anymore. But Nick Hausman, you're a dick. Like,
Well,
I'm
dude, if that was Dana White, he tells those reporters, shut your damn mouth, be quiet, you're an idiot next, you know?
no, he's a dick because he's the same guy that started throwing allegations against Chris Jericho the day of their pay-per-view.
See, the thing with a guy like him, you can't be throwing out, like, you could say a guy sucks, he's not a good, that's fine. But when you start accusing guys of rape or sexual assault, you better have your ducks in a row. If you're on a high pedestal, they could sue your ass for defamation if what you're reporting is incorrect. So what if he keeps this up, somebody's going to sue him.
Well, I mean, nothing's come out of the Chris Jericho stuff. He's on his cruise. All that was proven not to be true to a certain extent, I believe. I don't have the details, so
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize if I'm out of line or talking out of line that way.
No, you're right. Nothing much has come of it so far.
Right? So, Jericho's on his cruise right now with all the wrestlers and doing their thing. So I wonder if Vince is there. No, just joking.
Hey, he loves Vince, so
Right? So, all right. Chance, I tell you what, man, that's a Rumble in a nutshell. I gave it a 6.
I was a little bit disappointed because I was pretty excited for it. It just wasn't that great. But hey, man, you know what? Even if you and me were the bookers, you can't book every show is not going to be amazing. Some are better than others, and overall, it's still the best company in the world for wrestling. Not even close. So this wasn't a great night. It happens.
Overall takeaways just proved to me that this roster is stacked because they didn't have anyone come from the outside. I thought X Pac would have showed up. I thought this guy would have showed up. I thought this girl would have showed up.
Yeah.
But none of it happened. The one takeaway that it did have, Naomi's hair is very similar to that of Sasha Banks when she left, like
Yeah.
that whole spotted leopard look kind of a thing. So that was kind of interesting.
I gotta say, Austin Theory looked great. The way he entered the Rumble, little flip, then that drop kick, man, he can really jump. That guy's such a talented athlete. He should have stayed in the Rumble longer, I thought.
Well, I mean, you got guys like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I mean, a year ago we thought Austin Theory was going to be the next thing, and he slowly kind of found his spot where he is. So hopefully they pick all that up and we get some new storylines. But you know what?
Man, he's in good shape though. He looks like $1 million that
No,
guy. Holy cow, he's huge.
Looks beautiful. All right, Chance, I tell you what, man. Why don't we wrap this puppy up here? Call it a day. This is the Rumble review. I gave it a 6. What did you give it?
I'm giving it a 6. Yeah, a couple good spots, but overall, nothing right home to him about.
No, it wasn't the greatest Royal Rumble, but it wasn't the worst Royal Rumble.
No, there's been a few worse, yeah, but
right? So it was okay for what it was. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Everything leads to Philadelphia. We go to Australia next. We got 2 months to fix this. Well, I don't know if you want to call it fixing it, but trying to put it together because right now, the way it looks, I don't think anyone's going to be interested in WrestleMania 40.
They need to crack the whip a little bit backstage and say, hey, guys, you're expected to the women did good. You expect them to try a little bit harder, run a little faster, sell a little bit better, or else you're not going to, you're going to get knocked down the card.
We're 2 months away, brother man. Let's put it together. Let's see what we got and we'll sit there. All right, man. I'm Bobby Sampson. I'm coming to you from work, hence the background, the way it looks. But man, we're here. We want to make sure we get the word out to you. So we find the ways to do it in every possible way. So work, home, it doesn't matter. Samp&Chance are going to come at you. Guys, girls, remember, we're working hard. You guys work hard. Everything will come to you. Just don't stop working hard. my message to you on this Sunday.
Yes.
Bobby Sampson, he's Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great ACDC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. We will be back Tuesday with everything else that's going on. We thought about doing this earlier, but we thought, no, let's just wait. Let's give it some time. Let's get all
Yeah,
the
keep it separate.
information. Let's keep it separate. But I also wanted to have more information to work with.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go on speculation. I want to come to you all with fact. Some of it's not going to be pretty. Some of it's going to be okay. But I can tell you guys, you do not want to miss the Tuesday show. That's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
you're right. It'll be pretty. It'll be ugly. It'll be good, but it'll be honest and fair take, right? So
Absolutely. I
we'll
think
lay it
you're
down.
going to get the fairest take that's possible for this show on Tuesday. All right. It's Sunday. It's God's day. So everybody, God bless you. Have a beautiful Sunday. Enjoy it with your families. Have a great start to the week. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Samp and Chance.